Here we're going to tie a fly called the Graphic Caddis. First thing we're going to do is start our thread, and we're going to tie in some olive or some Chartreuse Midge tubing. You can also tie this fly in a tan color. You can tie this tubing in, take it all the way back around the bend of the hook. Next thing we're going to do is tie in a piece of either pearl or silver mylar tinsel. I think Charlie actually ties his with a piece of silver. I actually like to use pearl, but it's just personal preference. We're just going to tie in a little bit of a tag at the rear of this fly. Helps it jump out. There we go. Doesn't need to be much. And you can trim out the excess. Now we're going to build up a bit of a taper right on the bend of this fly, kind of a grubby taper. So I just take my white thread and I build up a little bit of a hump here. Try to smooth it out so when we wrap our tubing it doesn't bulk up on us. Then you can take your thread all the way forward to the thorax. There we go. You can take that tubing and just wrap it over your tinsel and then wrap it forward over the thread body as evenly as you can. And you can capture the tubing, trim the excess. Now I actually like to switch thread colors. I'm going to be tying a bit of like a tan collar on the front of this fly, so I'm going to switch to some tan thread. Your color could be olive, your color could be brown. It just kind of depends on what color you want to make it. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to tie in the legs, which I do with a partridge feather. And I take a whole partridge feather, just like so, and I stroke all the fibers back to expose the tip of the feather. Once I see the tip of the feather, I just get in there and I can trim out the tip. That exposes like a V. Then I'm going to tie that V in on each side of the fly. Just like so. And I pinch the fibers on each side. Do a loose wrap around those feathers and then pull tight. What that's going to do is make some legs on each side of the fly. And I can take my thread forward near the eye and I pull tight on the thread, and I can actually just break all that partridge right out of there. It's usually the cleanest way to do it. Got to hold your thread tight, that's the key, tension on the thread. Now I'm ready for the thorax material, which will just be a strand of ostrich. Depending on what color you're tying, depends on the color of the ostrich that you're going to use. I'm going to use like a tan color. But like I said, you can use olive, you can use dark gray. You can really use whatever color you don't want. I'm just going to tie this in so all the fibers face backwards. That way when I wrap it, the fibers will lay back on the fly. I just take that ostrich and I wrap it around the hook, nice and even. Once I get up to the eye, I just capture that ostrich. Again, I can use heavy tension on the thread just to break out the tip of the ostrich. There's some fuzzies sometimes left. You can just trim those fuzzies out. Now you can whip finish. And that's all there is to a Graphic Caddis. Now when this fly gets wet, all this ostrich will lay back just like so, giving it a very buggy appearance. It won't all stand up like that. The ostrich is actually very soft, so it'll all kind of lay back just like that, giving it a very lifelike kind of a pupa look to it. That's really what this fly imitates, is the pupa, not necessarily larva, one that's actually emerging. Very effective fly out here on our western rivers, and you can tie it in other colors. Like I said, we tied it here in green, but you can tie it in orange, tan, brown, dirty olive, whatever color works for you. That's the Graphic Caddis.